Welcome to the Deep Dive, an intense exploration of how you show up in life, business, and relationships, and how they're all connected in the infinite thread that is you. So let's get into the dive. Here's your hosts, Marcus and Nara.
Thanks for joining us here on the Deep Dive. I'm Nara Daniels.
And I'm Marcus Harrison.
Let's dive in.
Have you ever walked into a room and felt kind of like everyone else is just smarter?
Oh, yeah.
More experience, more.
Yeah, definitely.
Or maybe wished you could just confidently lead a conversation, share your ideas, and everyone's just hanging on your every word. Be seen as a thought leader.
A lot of people struggle with that, wanting to be recognized for your insights and your expertise.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. We've got some fascinating insights from Coach Dan Gordon.
Okay.
He specializes in helping people establish themselves as thought leaders.
Interesting.
One of the most intriguing things he talks about is using authority questions to command attention and position yourself as an expert.
I like that, authority questions. It's fascinating how those questions tap into our curiosity.
Yeah.
And that inherent desire for solutions. They make people think, okay, tell me more.
It's true. So instead of just kind of stating your opinion, you ask, can I tell you where you're probably losing money? Or there is one factor that's holding you back. Can I tell you what it is?
Wow, those are such great examples. It's so subtle but effective. By phrasing your insights as questions, you immediately pique that curiosity.
Yeah.
You position yourself as someone with the answers.
It's like you're inviting them into a conversation where you have the knowledge. You're not just telling them. You're letting them discover it through you.
Right, exactly. And that creates a stronger connection and trust.
Okay, so imagine you're in a brainstorming session. The team's stuck. Instead of throwing out another idea, you ask, can I share a perspective that might help us see this problem in a new light?
Wow.
Changes the whole dynamic.
Absolutely. You're not just another voice in the crowd. You're the person guiding the conversation, offering those insights.
It's powerful stuff. But Coach Dan doesn't stop at clever questions. He goes deep into 12 qualities he believes are essential for thought leadership. He calls them the 12 requirements for mastery.
Okay.
These go way beyond tactics into the mindset of a true leader.
It's about cultivating those inner qualities that make people just see you as that go-to expert, the person they trust and respect.
And one of those requirements that really stuck with me is knowing your stuff. It seems obvious, but genuine expertise is the foundation of everything.
Yeah, you can't fake it.
You can't fake it.
It'd be like building a house on a shaky foundation. Without that deep understanding, any attempts at thought leadership are just going to crumble.
Another one that stood out to me is problem solver mindset.
Okay.
It's not about just being smart. It's about using your knowledge to genuinely help people.
When you approach situations with a desire to solve problems and add value, people notice. It builds credibility and trust that selling yourself could never do.
It's about shifting from me to we. How can I use my expertise to contribute to something bigger than myself?
Yes. That's where things get interesting, because Coach Dan also talks about confidence with a touch of arrogance.
Ooh, that one caught my eye too.
Yeah.
It sounds a little bold.
It is, but it's not about being cocky or dismissive. It's about having the courage of your convictions, believing in your ideas and not being afraid to challenge conventional wisdom, standing out from the crowd a little bit.
So it's that inner confidence that allows you to say, I see things differently and here's why.
Precisely. It's that subtle edge that just makes people sit up and take notice.
Yeah.
It all ties into a really important aspect of thought leadership that we haven't talked about yet.
You mean why we worry so much about what other people think?
Exactly. That fear of judgment, it can hold so many people back from really stepping into their power as thought leaders.
Because let's face it, putting yourself out there, sharing your ideas, taking a stand, it can feel scary. What if people disagree?
Right.
Judge you, think you're wrong?
It's normal to have those fears, but here's the thing. Those fears usually come from our own insecurities and a desire for approval.
Yeah.
So how do we break free from that? How do we become more courageous, sharing our ideas and our expertise?
That's what we'll explore in part 2. We'll delve into the psychology of why we crave that approval and how to shift our mindset from fear to fearless self-expression. I'm looking forward to it. I think we could all use a little less insecurity and step into our power as thought leaders.
I agree. Last time we were talking about that fear of judgment being a major hurdle to becoming a thought leader.
Right.
But what if we could work with that fear?
Okay. I like that.
Instead of trying to get rid of that worry about what others think.
Interesting. So you're saying we shouldn't try to just get rid of it?
Not really. It's more about understanding where it comes from and using it to grow for personal growth.
So how do we do that? How do we go from being scared
Yeah.
to using it to our advantage?
First, we have to acknowledge that wanting to be accepted, wanting to be liked is human.
Yeah.
It's wired into us.
It's like back in the caveman days, being part of the tribe meant survival.
Exactly. That need for belonging is still with us.
So then it makes sense that we'd be afraid to put ourselves out there, say something that might get us rejected.
Absolutely. But the key to thought leadership is that it's not about pleasing everyone. It's about having the courage to be yourself and share your perspective, even if you ruffle a few feathers along the way.
I like that. So how do we start to shift that mindset? How do we become more comfortable with not always fitting in?
One technique is to start questioning those fears.
Okay, so let's say I'm about to give a presentation and I'm terrified. What kind of questions should I ask myself?
Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Be specific. Is it that people will think you're incompetent?
Right.
Will they disagree?
Okay.
Will they not find you interesting?
It's like you're shining a light on those fears, seeing what they're really made of.
Exactly. And when you do that, you often realize those fears are based on assumptions and limiting beliefs.
Ooh, like I have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Everyone has to agree with me.
Exactly. And those are rarely true. Most people are a lot more forgiving than we give them credit for.
So challenge those negative thoughts, those inner critics.
Yeah, because once you start questioning them, they lose their power.
It's like taking back control.
Exactly. And as you do that, you start to feel more confident, more courageous, more willing to step outside your comfort zone.
That makes sense. You're not so worried about what people think because you're more focused on being true to yourself.
Exactly. Now here's another piece. Social proof.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we talked about that?
Like having evidence, right?
Yeah.
Testimonials, projects, recognition.
Exactly. It gives people a reason to trust you, see you as an expert.
Yeah.
And then those fears start to fade away.
It's like you have this armor
Yes.
to protect you from those negative thoughts.
And the more you put yourself out there, the more social proof you get. It's a positive feedback loop.
So the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
Less scary.
Exactly. Now let's talk about that confidence with a touch of arrogance.
Okay. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that one.
Think about it. It's having that inner belief that you have something valuable. Right, that your ideas matter and that you deserve to be heard.
So it's not about being boastful or self-important. It's about owning your expertise.
Yes. Knowing that you're good at what you do. And that confidence is contagious.
Yeah, that's attractive. It gives you that magnetic quality.
Exactly.
That it factor.
That's what helps you stand out as a thought leader.
Okay, so we talked about questioning fears, social proof, a touch of arrogance.
Yes.
What else can we do to get over this fear and step into our power as thought leaders?
Well, sometimes it helps to reframe judgment. What if instead of something to be feared, it was valuable feedback?
Ooh, I like that.
That's a different way of looking at it.
Because not all judgment is bad. Constructive criticism can be really valuable.
Yeah.
It helps us see our blind spots and where we can improve and just refine our ideas.
So instead of getting defensive, we can see it as a way to learn.
Exactly. And remember, not everyone's going to love your ideas.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah. Thought leadership isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about having the courage to stand out and be different, to make a difference.
Yeah. I really like that. The more you try to fit in, the more you blend in. But when you embrace your uniqueness, that's when you really shine.
Exactly. People are drawn to authenticity and passion, people who are brave enough to be themselves.
Okay. So to recap, we talked about questioning fears, social proof, a touch of arrogance, and reframing judgment. Any final thoughts?
Just remember that becoming a thought leader is a journey.
Yeah.
There will be ups and downs, doubts, triumphs, but the key is to keep showing up. Keep sharing your expertise. Keep believing in yourself.
All right. We've covered so much in this deep dive. We talked about authority questions, genuine expertise, and getting over those fears. But I bet a lot of people listening are thinking, how do I actually do all of this?
Yeah, that's the big question, right?
It is. It's one thing to understand it, but another actually use it.
Absolutely.
So how do we put this into practice and start building thought leadership?
First, you've got to figure out what your expertise is.
Okay.
Think about what you're passionate about, your skills, your experiences. What do you know better than most people?
So find your niche where your knowledge and your passion meet.
Exactly. And once you've got that, start sharing it.
But how do we do that effectively?
Right.
There's blogs, podcasts, social media. It's a lot.
It can be overwhelming. You got to find the platforms that feel right for you, that your audience is on.
Okay.
What feels most authentic.
So if I'm a visual person, videos or infographics could be good.
Exactly. Or if you love writing, start a blog, contribute articles.
So it's about playing to your strengths.
Yeah.
Where your message has the most impact.
And here's something else. Consistency.
Okay.
This isn't a one-time thing. You got to keep showing up and sharing your insights.
Like a muscle, you got to keep working it to make it stronger.
Right. And that consistency builds trust.
So even if I don't have a big audience yet, I should just keep going.
Keep creating, keep sharing.
Yeah.
It takes time to build that reputation.
But the more you put yourself out there, the more you'll find people who are interested.
Don't be afraid to experiment. Try things, see what works, change it up.
Exactly. And here's a tip that might sound weird. Ken, give away your best stuff for free.
You mean offer value up front?
Yes. When you share your knowledge freely, you show your expertise and build goodwill.
This is about relationships, not just selling something.
Exactly. And those relationships are what really matter. One more tip. Engage with others in your field.
So networking, conferences, online groups.
Connect with other leaders, share ideas, learn from each other.
Be a part of a community.
Exactly. And remember, you don't need to have all the answers. Be curious, ask questions, and encourage conversation.
So don't be afraid to ask questions.
Sometimes the best way to learn is to admit you don't know something and just be open.
Great advice.
Yeah.
So to wrap up this whole deep dive, becoming a thought leader isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about courage to share your unique gifts, connect with others, and make a difference. It's about owning your expertise, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, and believing you can make a difference.
And it's a journey. Enjoy it. Embrace the challenges. Celebrate the good stuff.
Absolutely. One last thought. What if being a thought leader isn't about how much you know, but about how much you inspire others to learn?
I'm Marcus Harrison.
And I'm Nara Daniels. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep shining.
This is The Dive.
We hope you enjoyed the deep dive. Subscribe to the podcast for more deep dives as Nara and Marcus traverse the infinite exploration into the mind and soul of you. We'll see you next time on The Dive.